might go.
Hello, and welcome to a different, more fun-centric version of Seeking Skeptics. I'm Josh Fleming. This is Kyle Hill, my best friend of many years. And tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. Obviously, these videos have been focused on politics. Surrounding what our perspectives are on certain things that we feel like are happening in the political spectrum. We still love talking about those things. We still want to talk about those things. We're still going to talk about those things. But today we had a different idea. We're just going to talk about the things we're watching, the things we're playing, and the things we're reading because, like just about everybody, pop culture stuff is huge in our lives, right? As we're obviously being entertained by so many different things. We live in a beautiful time where we have access to everything at all times, always. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we're specifically watching, what we're specifically playing, what we're specifically reading a little bit, and then we're going to touch on what I think are the top 5 Disney Plus movies for the holidays that people need to be watching. Kyle's going to add in his own that aren't Disney Plus centric, but they're still great holiday movies. Great holiday movies. So I guess we can start by discussing what do we say we're going to do first? You want to talk about what we're watching, what we're playing, or what we're reading first?
We can start with watching.
We start with watching?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to ask you first then, Kyle.
Well,
what's the first thing you're watching?
We've been watching way too many holiday cooking videos on YouTube, obviously. Bon appetit.
I've been hearing a lot about this. Go ahead.
You got to have my pie.
Dude, the pie is amazing. I've had the pie.
It's delicious. Me and my girlfriend made a pie by hand. The first pie, we didn't have as much dough left over, and it was a good pie. And the second pie, it was a little thin, but we're gonna do it again. It's just a fun thing we've been doing, is just practicing cooking, and I find it as a fun thing we do together.
There's a picture on his Instagram that's
she took the leftover pie today. I didn't get to show you this, but she took the leftover pie. We had extra pie dough.
Sure.
And she took a muffin tin and made mini pies.
Oh snap!
Yeah,
that's cool.
I'll post some on Instagram.
That's cool, man.
It's mini pies.
Isn't that weird that part of growing older is that level of domestication is beautiful.
I'm not supposed to have that till 40, but I'm going.
We're having it now.
I'm going early.
But YouTube makes it so much easier to be yo, I'm gonna make
pick up
this
a skill.
Yeah, to pick up a skill, to learn how to do something in a mimicking a professional.
Yeah, I mean, basically. Just it's just simple things. It sounds, you wouldn't think the little things make your food taste that much different.
Sure, but you're all over it.
I'm all over it. I love it. I think it's so much fun to.
It's awesome.
To tweak it. I got a Dutch oven too, so that makes it fun. And then
I forget what Dutch ovens are. Dutch ovens are what?
It's a cast iron that has a white enamel.
What does the white enamel do?
The white enamel lets you see. So what you want is when you make a fond.
Sure.
A
fond is good for mac and cheese. I know that. No, that's a roux. I'm sorry.
So a fond is the brown bits at the bottom of a pan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And you take the meat out and you use that to make you can make a gravy. You really can make a sauce with it. You can do everything you want with it. It basically makes everything taste amazing. And most people don't use that, but the white enamel makes it where you can see the fond better, so it doesn't burn.
It makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so
that's awesome. We watched a lot of Bon Appetit. What else?
Obviously Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty, great. I'm glad that it's back. Dude. Finally, after years, it's back.
The Death Crystal episode. It feels still
which episode was that?
I think I like Death Crystal Morty better than I do Pickle Rick.
Death Crystal Morty, the one that, so for people who haven't watched, and hopefully this isn't going to spoil too much, there's an episode centered around Morty where he finds a crystal.
They both find death crystals.
Yeah, they both find death crystals, and Rick uses it at the beginning of the episode to just avoid death in his action scenes, right? Because that's what Rick is now. Basically, he's just like Iron Man and Batman, and he's these things put together, right? And he's shooting people, and Morty finds that there's a future where he can be with Jessica, and he wants to do everything he can to find that future, go after that future, and it's insane. It's insane.
That show just has so much depth. For a cartoon. I was literally talking about this with somebody, my friend Jay. He was literally saying he's like that show is too much sometimes for him. It is.
It really is.
But it's just so good.
Oh, it hits you, man. I mean, because it's obviously for me, I don't know what you interpreted it as, but my interpretation of that was literally that no matter how much you want to try to make a certain future happen or predict what's going to happen or put yourself in a position, things just happen. Life is crazy. Life is chaotic. You can't plan like that. And even when you plan like that, the end result may not be what you expected, or you may not, what you think it isn't, it's not all it's cracked up to be. I mean, basically.
I feel like a lot of people do that where they want to plan their life in XYZ amount of way. And ultimately, they get what they want, but it's on the package that they wanted it. Sure. And the idea is that Morty wanted like I'm saying a spoiler for season 1. If you haven't seen season 1, episode 1.
Episode is season 1, episode 1.
If you haven't seen season 1, episode 1, you're in a spoiler right now. But I'm gonna warn you, spoiler.
Oh, we already spoiled it.
Too late. Right? Josh,
too late.
Josh, no spoiler. I'm about to really spoil it. So
Okay.
here we go. So like, you know, we want something. You know, he goes out. He wants Jessica so bad.
Sure.
That literally he sees this vision where Jessica's taking care of him.
Yeah. At the end of his life, she's with him old, and they're both old together, and she's like, "I love you, Morty," all this stuff.
He doesn't, and he connects at the end that all she wants to be is a hospice lady.
Yes. At the very end, it's like this really fucked up explanation where she's just like, "I want to work at a hospice, and I want to definitely tell every single person that I love them as much as I can," and it's like this weird. It's fucked up. It's fucked up, but it's such a good show.
And then it's just. That show is just too good.
It's very good.
Mr. Pooh Butthole's back.
Mr. Pooh Butthole's back, and he's the kung fu master and all that stuff. Like try to. The heist episode is great. Have you watched the heist episode yet? The heist within heist, great. We won't spoil too much. I don't think we should talk too much more about the later episodes. But the heist episode is definitely my favorite right now. The Death Crystal Morty episode, phenomenal. But the heist episode was just next level. And I like that this season they're basically taking the approach of, and they say in the episode 1, season 1, they're like, we're just going to do whatever the fuck we want right now. We're not really trying to progress anything really serious. We're just going to tell the stories we want to tell. And I think they're really having a lot of fun with it. I think that we should
Bulldog 99.
Was it?
Bulldog 99. 92.
Great show. But I think I'm watching a lot of Disney Plus. I've been addicted to Disney Plus ever since it came out. Big surprise. But one of my favorite things that I'm watching right now is The World According to Jeff Goldblum. I never knew.
Isn't he on Netflix?
I don't know if he's on Netflix. This is on Disney Plus, though, the show that I'm watching. Haley and I were just watching the Denim episode. There's something about Jeff Goldblum explaining something to you, whether it's ice cream and how it's made, or freaking denim, and he tells a story. He's describing what naturally is created to make denim, right? It's some sort of defense, I think, for plants that was a lightweight and strong material that helped them to carry out their seed. And just the way he was talking about it, and then he said some sort of little line like cheeky, you know, in his Jeff Goldblum voice that's like beautiful. And I was like, oh, this is it. That dude definitely just exudes sex at all times. Everything is about sex to him. Like, I mean, for me, it is for me. I don't know what it is personally for you, but this dude exudes an appeal that's just like, in my mind, universally like, just
he does have
alluring. You know what I mean?
Alluring.
Yeah, and when he's describing even the most simple things to you,
he's marketing himself very like, I don't know, look at him, he's like all suave and.
Dude, look at this man. Look at it. He's eccentric. He's weird. I like eccentric and weird. I've always liked eccentric and weird. The sneaker episode was phenomenal.
Me and Mel watched it.
It's very good, right? And I like that. I mean, a lot of the stuff does seem kind of manufactured, right? Obviously, they're cherry picking.
What is y'all's
things.
Favorite Christmas movie?
Bulldogs 1992. We're gonna get to that later on when we talk about the top 10 holiday movies that we want to talk about, or Christmas movies. But we're not there yet.
I mean, I'll give a little preview of mine.
Okay.
My favorite one is super nostalgic and lame. It's a Wonderful Life. Okay. From 1948.
Let's go. That's good. It's a classic. Everybody knows about that movie.
It's such a good movie.
We'll talk about it more later for sure.
Okay.
I want to talk about. I talked a little about The World According to Jeff Goldblum. Yes. Highly recommend. Very good. Very enticing. Right. It just engrosses you. I'm also watching. What did I say I was watching? Well, obviously, The Mandalorian is one of the best Star Wars things that's been created in the past 5 years.
One of the best.
Since like the original trilogy, because what they did was they tapped on something. And actually, if we could, Justin, and I don't mean to interrupt what you're doing, could you just Google image search Baby Yoda? Because it's a meme at this point. Everybody knows about Baby Yoda. This is what the show is, Kyle.
Baby Yoda.
This is what this show is. Look at this adorable creature. Look at this eyes.
When is the timeline?
Look at its ears.
What's
look
the timeline of
So this is set after the original trilogy, the Return of the Jedi, after Return of the Jedi, before The Force Awakens. Okay, so it's in that little in-between period, right? There's a lot. There's like, I think it's something like 30-something years in between, so they can cover whatever they want to cover. And they chose to make the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I saw the Gerber baby gift.
And it's like, it's a big spoiler for the first episode, but by now everybody knows about it, everybody's seen it. But at the very end, you discover that his mission is to or his bounty is this. They say it's 50 years old, right? Because Yoda, the Yoda species, grows at a really slow rate. We don't know much about them. We know they grow really slowly. And so he finds this thing, and you see it for just briefly in the first episode, and you're like, oh my God, I'm already in love. And then throughout each episode, it has just been, can you actually image search? This is the most recent one, the most recent image that's been going around the internet. I'm sure you've seen that meme, the one of him looking up, and it's like...
Most recent?
No, the T. It's the T. It's this one right here on the second row on the farthest right. Look at this little thing. Look at it drinking its little drink. Look at it sipping.
So in the TV show, is he a baby?
It's a baby. Yes, it doesn't speak. Just garbles and goos and blah 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 blah. It doesn't say much at all. But I'm telling you, this whole show is based. It's like a Clint Eastwood kind of like Western show where you have a guy in a mask all the time, and it's talking about the Mandalorian like people, right? Like the tribe, and that is also super interesting, right? They have to wear the masks. If they take the mask off, we just found out in this most recent episode, if he takes the mask off, you can't put it back on. If someone sees you, taking the mask off, you can't put it back on.
Is it like a religious thing?
It's sort of. It's like a tribe, right? They are this really tight knit community, right? And set after the Return of the Jedi. And there aren't that many of them left, the Mandalorians. So they're kind of in hiding. It's really really cool. I highly recommend you watching it because we could talk about. I want to talk about.
I gotta get caught up
every week. There's only 4 episodes, and it releases every Friday.
I gotta get caught up on just Star Wars in general.
I know we gotta watch Return of the Jedi.
I have not.
He and I made an agreement that before the Rise of Skywalker, if I watched Dragon Ball Z all the way through from Vegeta to Boo, we got to Boo, and then we're now watching Dragon Ball Super.
Yes.
He would watch the Star Wars movie, so we're catching him up on the Star Wars movies before the Rise of Skywalker.
I was a Star Wars.
We are running out of time, my friend, because we have like 20 days. But anyway,
20 days is more than enough time.
We gotta get it going. Luckily, we have Disney Plus to watch it because they're all on there, which is phenomenal. But no, The Mandalorian, great. Genuinely love that show.
The time frame is. What is the time frame again?
The time frame is after the Return of the Jedi, but before The Force Awakens.
Before The Force Awakens.
So before the ones that have been most recently made after Disney bought Star Wars, but after the original trilogy.
Are they about to bring in like a new Yoda style?
I don't know what Yoda. I don't know this baby Yoda story. I don't know much about it at all. We don't know. We just know it's freaking adorable, and he's protecting this baby from bounty hunters who are trying to hunt it down.
I thought he was hunting it.
He originally was, and you need to watch the show to find out what happens. Basically, he just gets a really soft heart. It's awesome. Great show. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Another sneaky show that I've been watching, that me and Haley have been watching, is called Encore. And it's hosted by Kristen Bell. And it's the theater geeks in both of us are literally on cloud 9 about it, right? Because it is, imagine if a high school cast got back together years later and redid the play for one night. And they only had like 2 weeks to prepare for it. Right. So the first episode was like people who are in their 40s, right? 30s, 40s. So it had been a long time since they've been in high school, and they were trying to like basically try to recreate it, but they were struggling a lot, right? And it was really cool to see them all kind of get together again and kind of reminisce. There are people that had dated for a little while. Kristen Bell hosts it. She's not in it very often. The focus is definitely on the people who were in high school in these plays, right? In these musicals. But it's so good because it just taps into that like
theater, like
reality show kind of vibe to me a little bit too, right? Because there's a little bit of drama involved in the people, and you kind of figure out their histories and stuff like that. But yeah, some of my favorite episodes so far is the one that the Beauty and the Beast episode, because they definitely are our age. So
this high like basically they're
old high school. Like, yeah, it's basically like high school reunions if the high school reunion was the cast of a musical getting back together and redoing the play for one night, like I said. And it's just fun.
That's really cool.
It's a really fun concept, and I was really kind of nervous about it at first. I was really kind of like, I don't know if this is going to be good. Is this going to be really cringy? And there are moments that are genuinely cringy. And there are people that you're like, oh, you're really... Like, there are high school actors and actresses, right? And they obviously, a lot of them didn't succeed and go on to be on famous actors and actresses. So they're not super good. Yeah. It's not like they're like they blow you off the, they're whatever.
What is...
But...
why is our host such a hunk?
Hunks. What's up, Luigi? Why are we such hunks? I don't know, man.
It takes a lot of work to make this body work.
Yeah, a lot of work. Oh, good Lord. Okay. But Encore, highly recommend Encore. You definitely should check it out. Anybody who's got Disney Plus, give it a watch. If you were a high school theater kid, or whether you like that kind of vibe, it's really, really good. So I think we should possibly move on to what we're playing now. What do you think? That's what I had. I had The Mandalorian, World According to Jeff Goldblum.
I want to
show
this trailer for the Death Stranding real quick if we're going to go to the plane.
Okay.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Death Stranding because...
So this is kind of a nice little bridge between the two things. Okay, I dig it.
So
this is an ad you saw while watching Rick and Morty.
We were watching it, and you gave me a brief overview, but...
Death Stranding is a weird game.
It is. And you've looked into a little bit. This, it's the weirdest thing ever.
Here, we'll watch this clip real quick.
It's so just like the baby and everything. It's actually
do you want the sound on?
No,
sure,
go for it.
The Death Stranding, Rick.
Oh, okay.
They actually mentioned Death Stranding.
You know, I've been walking for a while, and I got this baby in a tube
We
here.
need some sort of crazy upgrade. I've got an idea.
Stop!
Not an upgrade. Let's eat
What?
it.
You can't eat it. It's a baby.
It makes us run faster, jump higher. Okay.
Let's eat the baby.
Bizarre.
So who's the main actor again?
The main actor in Death Stranding? Norman Reedus. It's a Hideo Kojima game. If you want to go and move into, we'll talk about Death Stranding. Neither of us are playing Death Stranding, but it's a game that's really captured Kyle's attention and mine as well to a certain extent. But I know what I kind of know what to expect with the Kojima game. And while I love Kojima and everything that he's done for video games, I think he's done his own thing and it's awesome. He's making art for real. It's just bizarre. And for me, whenever there's a story that's happening and I just am lost and I don't think I'll ever understand it after pouring through Reddits and after subreddit after subreddit after subreddit trying to figure it out and understand it, it is insane. Click the answer for me. Oh my god. Weird game, but I really genuinely think it's going to be game of the year because there aren't that many games that are out this year that the consensus is the best game. But that does help me to start talking about the first game that I want to talk about.
So if what would be 3 games? Like, is it going to win game of the year just for popularity's sake?
I think it's going to game of the year because the game that I want to talk about definitely did not get a nomination because it came out too late.
And that was
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I think that it's the game of the year for sure. A lot of people would argue that Resident Evil 2, the remake of that game, is the game of the year. Very good, old school style kind of Resident Evil, where it's still kind of like not tanky, super tanky, but the controls are still really kind of slow and methodical. You don't have a lot of ammunition. Very old school survival horror. It's really good. I have it if you ever wanted to borrow it and use it or play it. It's a lot of fun. But Death Stranding, I think, is going to have the upper hand because Kojima, I don't know if you know much about the history of Kojima, but I know about it from a distance, like from articles that I've read and Twitter feeds that I've seen people talking about it. But from what I understand, the people who he originally worked with to make the Metal Gear Solid games, for those of you who don't know, Hideo Kojima is really well known for the Metal Gear Solid video games. He basically got dumped unceremoniously, just kind of like got put to the side. And the gaming community rallied around him. Specifically, this guy named Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley is like, you've seen him. He used to be a host on G4. He's been around for a long time talking about video games.
People have pictured Jeff Keighley.
Actually, the host of the Game Awards, which is really cool. The Game Awards coming up really soon. I'm really excited about it. It's like my Emmys or my Oscars. I'm really excited. Jeff spelled with a G. But it'll work. You'll find him. See that guy right there, the red picture.
The red picture?
Right there. I'm sure you've seen him somewhere.
I think
talking about video games. Yeah. Maybe. For those who have followed any sort of game media, he's been around a lot.
The old G4 shows that you're talking about?
Yeah, he was on G4. That's where I first saw him, was on G4. I know he's known for more than just that, but anyway, he is really close. He's really there's a lot of Jeff Keighley's out there. He's really close with Hideo Kojima. And he's the one that's hosting the Game Awards and kind of like the guy that does the Game Awards. So I think it might be a little bit
political based?
A little political in the sense of Kojima. But the thing is, does he deserve it? Yes. You know what I mean? Like for what he's done and for what he had to deal with and the fact that they just kind of dumped him after he made them kind of what they are, is like, I'm okay with him winning it this year because I don't know if there's another game that could have beat it that is qualified. There's another game that I really think was really fun that I played this year called Control. And it's like the same people, Remedy, who made the Alan Wake games. And I love that kind of weird stuff. But it's also weird.
What kind of game is it?
Makes me kind of sound like a hypocrite when I say it. Control, it's a game where you are the director of the oldest house, I think is the name of the place. And it's just, man, there's a lot to unpack about it. You are exploring this house, learning the secrets, learning what it means to be the director, getting to know just like how the world works in like this weird alternate dimension type deal. Really weird sci-fi. I really, really enjoy it.
Powers?
Yes, you do. You have like a like almost like a force push. That's your melee. You can pull things and like shoot them at people. Your gun is basically like the lore around the gun is basically that it was Mjolnir in the time of the Norse gods. Okay. It passed on from generation to generation to generation over thousands of years, takes different shapes, and it takes the shape of a gun that you can mod in this time. So you can turn into a shotgun or like a sniper rifle or a handgun, and you use energy when you're using that gun, and then it reloads over time, so you never really run out of ammo. It's a lot of fun.
And this game is a PS4 game?
It's a PS4 game. I think it's actually Xbox as well. I believe it may be for everything. But anyway, I want to talk about the other game that I think should be Game of the Year, which is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Okay. This game is everything I've ever wanted in a Star Wars game. This game is what I wanted The Force Unleashed to be. It is essentially a story of a young Jedi who wasn't killed in Order 66. For those of you who know Star Wars stuff,
I want to see this.
He survived Order 66, and he goes into hiding. You start the game. The beginning of this game is amazing. Like, you start this game, you're on the run, and these guys called Inquisitors, who at the time between episode 3 and episode 4 were hunting down Jedi for Darth Vader. He had like a team of basically like Sith that was like helping hunt down the Jedi. And so you have to go, you're getting hunted by these people. And you meet these cast of characters that are really fun. There's a guy named Greasy, or I think it's Grease? It's Grease maybe. But he has like some really fun one-liners. The combat in this game is super punishing though. I mean, in my mind, like it's. I don't play games like Bloodborne. Yeah, I'm trying to play on Jedi Master.
Okay.
I don't play games like Bloodborne or Dark Souls. But people talk about this game as if it compares to those games in the sense of you have to be very methodical with how you fight these enemies. If a big guy like that's coming after you, you have to make sure that you know where you need to block. You need to know their patterns. It's almost like God of War in the same way too. God of War was phenomenal because you had to see these enemies, know exactly what their weaknesses were, and be strategic with the way you were fighting them. And being a Jedi and having to strategically figure out how to kill these stormtroopers, so then I can go after this I got to take out this probe droid first because I got to go after this guy who has this freaking saber thing, the electric spike sword that you're trying to block. Oh, Beat Saber. Let me tell you, we'll talk about that here in a minute too. So,
have you played Assassin's Creed, right?
I played Assassin's Creed.
So,
I like Assassin's Creed.
How would you compare the fighting style of that on hard to the Star Wars?
Similar. I mean, in a sense, I guess. I mean,
is it
I wouldn't
open world?
Say it is not. It's more like a Metroidvania type of game. I don't know if you know what that phrase means.
No.
A Metroidvania type game means it's like games like Metroid and Castlevania really put an emphasis on exploring places you've already explored.
Okay.
But the places that you would go back to would be different because of some sort of ability or some sort of thing that has changed because you've progressed in the game. So like Metroid was really good about it, saying, okay, you can't get past this door because there's a missile that you need to have. Okay, well, I don't have the missile. So you play through the game, you get that missile on level 6. Well, now I can go back to this world with that missile and I can open this door. This game's the same way, but they do it with force abilities. So there's this planet called Zepho that you have to go to. Pretty often you have to go back to it because you keep learning new abilities. And so I learned force pull, so I could force pull a rope to me, a vine to me, and I could jump and I could swing because it was just out of reach otherwise, right? Force push the same way. I could force push a platform down, and now I can go into the next area where I couldn't before. So much fun. It totally makes you want to go back to those places and see what's going on and see what the secrets are, right? You're learning more about this Jedi who has some really cool stuff happening. I don't want to spoil too much of the story because I really want people to play this game. It's really a lot of fun. But
is this a main character in the
the main character? The name is Cal Kestis. He's played by Dominic Monaghan, the guy who was in Shameless. He played the Joker in the Gotham TV series, and he does a really great job. He's good. He's kind of a plain kind of Jedi, like he's a good guy, and it doesn't really change throughout the game. But the characters around him are really interesting. What's happening around him is really interesting.
Is he going to be in the movies at all?
I don't know if he's going to be in the movies or not.
Because it's weird that Star Wars seems like it's expanding so much.
Oh my gosh, they are. Well, like they can.
Well, I mean, like you got the Mandalorian. They're going in there messing with time periods. It's like almost like we're getting a taste of outside of this little
Skywalker
world.
saga.
Yeah.
Right? The Skywalker saga, I said. The Skywalker saga is obviously set around these characters. I love to see the Star Wars universe from other people's perspectives.
Yeah.
And The Mandalorian's doing that really well. This game does it does really cool things. And I mean,
So this guy's not a Skywalker.
He's not a
just a Jedi.
Skywalker. He's just a Jedi but it's in that time that we know about, right? It's in the time between Revenge of the Sith, which is a Skywalker story, and New Hope, which is a Skywalker story. So there are things that you can see and go, oh, that's that, and oh, that's this. And it's really cool because they're embracing animated shows too, like the Clone Wars or Rebels. And there are references to those shows that I'm like, oh, wow, I know about that. That's really neat. The Night Sisters stuff. They talk about Night Sisters, and the Night Sisters were really explored thoroughly in the Clone Wars and in Rebels. Characters, a tribe of people that I could explain to you later on, but it would take too long to explain now. So it's really cool to have them make those references to these TV shows. And like you're saying, growing out this universe beyond just Anakin and Kylo Ren and these, these Skywalker guys. But anyway, I love that game. I think that if the game would have been able to get nominated for Game of the Year, it would have a very good chance because this is a slower year for games, but also because it is a good game. Now, I will say there are a lot of frustrating things about the game.
What don't you like about the game?
Maneuvering around the world and the camera feels like an old game. It feels like a PlayStation 2 game. Maybe not even PlayStation 2 game, but like there are times when I'm fighting people and the camera just whips around and I'm like, I don't even know what's happening. I don't know where I am. I don't know what's going on. And so there are times where I get really disoriented from that. It's really unforgiving. Like the ropes that I was talking about before, you get force pull and you can grab the ropes later on. But when you're trying to get to a rope earlier, you have to jump and the box to hit that, like there's a hitbox in games, like a place where an animation will turn into an action, right? When that jump happens, you can miss that hitbox like frequently, easily, and you lose a little bit of health every time you fall down, every time you miss. So it just feels like an old way of doing things. It's like, okay, make that hitbox bigger, make it easier for me to get this rope.
Make me feel like Spider-Man a little bit.
Right, or don't make me, whenever I drop and die, or whenever I drop or whatever, that I lose health, because health is really hard to get because the game's hard and the combat's hard and the checkpoints are super unforgiving. So falling, not a big deal though. If I fell off
you're on that dark soul mode, basically?
No, it's the whole game. It's no matter what mode. You can switch between modes, easy, normal, hard, or whatever. But if you fall off a ledge, they immediately respawn you back on that ledge super quickly. But if I were to die, like get killed by something, the checkpoint they put me at, the place they put me at, is so terribly placed that, like, if I had to say this is a really bad guy, right? And these are some not so bad guys, but they're still tough when you put them together. And then here's an animal that's gonna just mess me up. Here's my checkpoint. I get to this thing, I kill it. Now, my health is not as great as it was before, and I may have had to use a stim pack to heal. Well, now I go to these guys. These guys aren't as bad to beat. I get them, but I still lose some health. Now I got to beat this big guy. The big guy just rocks my socks, rocks my world. I use both stim packs and die. Well, I have to go back, and they respawn these guys, and they respawn this, and I have to go back and do the same thing. Do it all over again. That's probably the most frustrating part of the game, to be completely honest with you, because it seems so unforgiving. But I keep coming back to it, and I keep playing it because I keep enjoying to be punished like that, because it's Star Wars and I'm a Jedi, and you can customize your lightsaber in really cool ways. They let you customize like the hilt and the emitter and all these things, and you can use different materials, different colors, different things you can put on top of the different structures. Yes, if you pre-ordered it, you got an orange lightsaber.
Oh, did you pre-order?
I did, because even though I didn't want to support EA like that, I wanted that orange blade, because if anybody knows me, I know I love the color orange. The color orange is like my thing, man. It's been my thing for years.
They knew how to get Josh fun.
They knew how to get me to pre-order the game specifically, and I was like, this is not fair. Everybody's talking about playing with green, and I'm like, man, no, orange is where it's at. But there's gonna be a purple one coming up, and I'm about to be like Mace Windu up in there. I promise you, it's gonna be the best thing ever. But anyway, I'm playing that. So now I'm gonna go from Star Wars to another game that is very saber centric, and then I want you to talk about Pokemon, because I know that you have a lot to talk about when it comes to Pokemon. The next thing that is kind of a conglomeration of things, but I'm going to focus on one game specifically. VR. We have a VR headset at the house now. And oh my gosh, is it fun to play VR. Yes, you did catch me. Kyle has a clip of me, and it looks really weird. But it's just me playing the game, and you don't know how weird you look until... Oh, that's funny. You don't know how weird you look until you see it from the outside in. But anyway, we got VR, and we've been playing a game called Beat Saber that I'm sure everybody who's heard about VR knows about.
Yes.
And it's basically a rhythm game that you play. Oh, this is me playing it. This is Kyle's video of
This
me.
is the great. I was walking my dog, and all of a sudden I look up, and I see all these lights, and I was so confused. And it's just beautiful seeing
It's beautiful to see
seeing my friend karate
someone with a
chop.
mask on, just like wildly like moving their arms around.
You're obsessed with Beat Saber.
I love Beat Saber. It is like whenever I was younger, whenever we used to live close by in Collinsville, I used to love DDR. Used to absolutely be obsessed with having that plastic pad and doing as much as I can and trying to do extra hard and all this stuff and having a blast. This game captures that same kind of energy, that same kind of manic teenager in me that just wants to constantly just like flail around and try to hit the beats and stuff like that. I'm having a blast with it. The music's really good. I'm really disappointed though by the soundtrack on like the extra soundtracks that they include with the game or that you can buy, right? The only artists that I'm really seeing on there are Imagine Dragons and Panic at the Disco. Great bands. I'm not upset about it in the slightest, but I want to see more because there are so many games when you're playing like an Imagine Dragons song and you're doing doon 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 and you're just hitting these things. It is so addicting and it feels so good when you know the song and you're playing it versus like a techno beat that you're trying to match or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's times when I'm just like literally going I'm playing this game like not on purpose.
Yes.
Just kind of just doing it.
You're feeling it.
Because I'm feeling it. Now, Haley told me to say this, and I have to put a disclaimer out there, that she is way better at this game than me. Way better. I mean, leagues above me. She literally, I play the game, and I do these songs, and I'm feeling good. I got rank A. I'm like, this is dope. I'm amazing at this. I'm going to go to work. I come back from work, and she goes, look at Beat Saber. All right, cool. I'm gonna get on here. I wanted to play anyway, so sure, I'll do it. And then I pull up the scores, and I see that she's got S rank, not missed a single one. S rank. All these songs that I've played that I thought I did so well on.
This is so beautiful.
Yeah, look at me. Look how good I look. I'm having a great time. Having a great time. Nobody knows that I got a hole in the armpit of that shirt. You know what I'm saying? Nobody but me.
Now they do.
Nobody.
Now you share it with everybody.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. I don't care. But no, it's a blast to play. The PlayStation VR specifically is insanely cool, Kyle. We've been playing this game called Job Simulator. Super fun, super goofy. I want to get Accounting Plus because Accounting Plus is written by the writers of Rick and Morty.
Accounting Plus,
not an accounting game at all. A Rick and Morty game. I haven't played it yet, but it's in my radar.
Is it Rick and Morty?
No, it's not Rick and Morty, but it's the same writers and it's the same voice actors and stuff like that. So it's gonna be
Harmon.
Stan Harmon. Yes. Can't wait to play it. Gonna buy it very soon. But anyway, no. Beat Saber. I don't know. I have no idea.
Anything about it.
I just know that they wrote it, and it's not an accounting game, and it's called Accounting Plus, and they wrote it, and it's great.
How much does the game cost? 60?
I don't know, like $20. No, a lot of these VR games, man. Beat Saber cost me $25. All these games are pretty affordable. The VR headset itself is $200, and you can get some good bundles that have some games built into it. Blood and Truth is really cool. I would say to anybody who's thinking about buying a VR,
what was that hot game that I played?
Super hot. Super hot. That game is a blast. You feel so good.
I feel like in the Matrix.
You just gotta be careful. There's a game called Blood and Truth, but the game
here it is.
Oh, Beat Saber.
Dude, it's so good. I gotta play this.
It's so much fun. I'm telling you.
This is the one I haven't played. Actually.
This is the one you haven't played because I think we got it after you played. But it's literally
I
just
that music too. I'll have
and you gotta like dunk underneath the things and move past these walls.
I'm gonna come
and this game looks wild like this, but imagine it like you're looking at it and it's coming at your face, and you're just like swipe right, swipe left, down, up, right, time. Oh, it's so much fun. And it taps into that weird thing where you don't think, you just do. And when you do, you do better than when you're trying to think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just kind of let loose and just follow the rhythm of the song.
Yeah.
Oh man, is it fun! I'm telling you.
I'm sure you feel like you're dancing.
If Beat Saber hadn't come out like years ago, I'd call it my game of the year. It's my game of 2019. It's my favorite. I think Jedi is very, very good, and Control is very, very good. But
Job Simulator is great.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's set in the future where people don't know what jobs are, basically, I guess, from what I understand. And robots tried to recreate what jobs were like.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have one like this one, I think, is the office worker. And the office worker job is just highly exaggerated things.
Look at this.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. But they play off of Office Space a lot, and they do a lot of fun things like that. Like, yeah, your password, you just type in whatever you want to type in for your password. You play the auto mechanic.
Yes.
Haley's been a chef. She says she loves it. It's just goofy. It's fun. And the way that they do VR is my favorite way to do VR, where you're kind of standing in a place and you do stuff rather than having to move. Like I was saying earlier, that Blood and Truth game. Oh my gosh, do I get motion sickness from having to, like, it's basically, imagine you're looking in the VR headset and you look forward and you see something that you need to go to and it has a little icon and you click the icon and then the camera moves you to that place. That's what gives me vertigo. I actually like that. No, that's what gives me the motion sickness.
I did that.
I can't do it.
So I did a VR headset
but it's tough.
Alex's friend's
yeah,
house.
and he's got a setup now.
His is a computer.
Yes.
When I did that,
it
was archery. And you had to use that clicking motion to basically move where you were going to go.
Sure.
I like that only because there is no real other way to move in the game.
Oh, there isn't. Until they get some sort of thing for your feet and like.
I wanted to feel like I was moving somewhere, and I did feel like when I was doing archery, like literally, I was like almost like teleporting in a sense.
I mean, that's what you are doing.
Going to one spot, shooting my arrows, going to one spot. Sure. It felt really, really cool.
I'm telling you.
I was also on Mars. I walked on Mars.
That's awesome. I've seen that. There's places like there are. I want to know if PlayStation VR has one. If anybody knows in the comments or anything like that, let me know. If there's a PSVR equivalent to like the Google Maps thing they have out, or like the World Map, where you can like go to a place and then almost like Google Maps where you can kind of go forward and stuff. That's the best way to describe it. But it describe like experience it in VR, PSVR.
Have you seen the VR NBA TV?
I've heard about it, like where you're on the bleachers. Yeah, I've heard it's really realistic.
You literally sit there and you get to experience the game like you were
from
live.
That perspective.
And you're watching it.
That's really cool.
That's
really.
I mean,
cool.
That is the future of sports.
Oh, it's the future of just about anything, really.
Or theater.
The thing is, it's not selling a whole lot like you think it would. But the thing is, I think that it's expensive, and I think it also needs another generation before it's truly that feeling that you want it to be when it comes to VR. I mean, I'm really enjoying PSVR.
You think it's just behind?
I think it's just, I think that the technology for the PS4 is so old. And I mean, the Oculus stuff I think is a little bit more advanced, but they're trying to make it mobile. So they have to make some sacrifices to make it mobile, right? So we're at this weird kind of growth point in it. I think that here pretty soon we're going to go to that next level. But I think that we should now, definitely, because I've talked plenty about VR and Star Wars. I need to hear about what you're playing, Kyle. Specifically, I think you're really only playing one thing.
Yeah, I'm only playing Pokemon.
And that's Pokemon Sword.
I was playing Light of Hope with Harvest Moon, but I became a master farmer in that video game and moved on.
I love it.
I still got to get married though.
Okay.
But Pokemon, this game is so different.
You're playing Sword, right? Specifically.
Sword, yes. This game is different than any Pokemon game because I told you in the last game. So, for instance, in Red and Blue, I was the original OG Pokemon.
Yes.
The whole point of the game was you pick a starter. After picking a starter, you build your crew of people.
Sure.
Okay, through the game.
Yeah.
And you go attack the Elite Four.
Sure.
And then after you're done with that, you get to battle your friends with the Pokemon that you collected.
And this is a big deal for you as a kid. Like Pokemon was huge for you.
I caught them all.
And for a lot of us, 90s kids, all that kind of stuff.
And this is the thing. This game made the most OP looking super moves.
Oh, I know. This was so impressive when I saw
Thunder. Thunder was always my favorite move in the game of all time. Thunder is the greatest Pokemon move ever, always.
Why do you say that?
Because it's literally thunder roaring down from the clouds. Like, it's always been awesome.
Sure.
Even Pokemon Red and Blue is the most animated looking Pokemon move.
Sure.
Okay. And this game just topped it with these
so it hasn't been topped since, like,
in my opinion.
So Thunder has always been the best move. What about all the old games like Sun and Moon did that weird I don't know what they did like I don't really play Pokemon a lot, but I know they do a lot of these weird new things with each game.
So I played Red and Blue, I played Soul Silver, and then I played Ruby and Sapphire.
Sure.
Okay, so I played the first
two generations. Black or white?
I played black and white a little bit. I didn't really get into it all the way.
Did I get into more than you did at that time?
I think you actually got into it more than me.
Interesting.
So
that was the first Pokemon game I ever played.
But Pokemon's always been an unforgiving game, is what I say.
Sure.
So you literally, if you wanted to figure out your IVs, your individual values on your Pokemon, there's almost no way to do it.
Sure.
You would go online, use a calculator to basically try to figure it out, and the game was unforgiving because basically you get done raising this Pokemon all the way, getting done to the end.
You gotta catch it.
You gotta catch it. You gotta raise it. Then you gotta buy proteins, iron, zinc. There's all these different methods to basically raise its it's EV value after that. So there's IV value and
there's an intrinsic
EV.
value and an external value. So inside
IV is like LeBron James was born 6'8". Automatically he's 6'8". He's this XYZ strong. He's this XYZ fast. Whatever it may be.
Sure.
Now LeBron going to the gym makes him faster, or LeBron not going to the gym makes him slower. Whatever it may be, right?
Sure.
With this game, what they did is, one, they let you see your IVs off the bat once you beat the game,
which is fun.
Which is
good, super easy now. It makes it easier for you to do the math. Figure it out.
They want this to be a competitive turn-based game.
That's awesome.
That's what they're finally asking for, is a competitive turn-based game. Because here's the thing, also, I'm right now breeding 5 Magikarps.
Magikarps, fish type Pokemon, water Pokemon.
Yeah.
Sure.
Everyone knows what a Magikarp is.
And listen, man, I'm just trying for the people who don't.
Everyone
people
knows
like me who
Melanie knows what a Magikarp
Magikarped around. You know what I mean?
Magikarp, I have 5 of them. I'm intentionally breeding 5. I'm intentionally EV training 5 for the sole purpose to completely level them out, to completely max them out, to trade a completely maxed out Gyarados.
Gotcha.
So whenever I go to show someone this Gyarados, that I can just say, yeah, check its stats. Its EVs are perfect. Its stats are perfect.
You're creating
it's a card.
A good that you can trade with somebody else for another good.
I'm making
and that
a
good
card.
is a Pokemon.
Yes.
You're making
and the thing about it is, its value is set. Its thing is done. This is going to be they are trying to make this a legit competitive game.
That's fun.
And
I like
this
that.
is not like normal Pokemon. That's not what they've wanted before. It felt like it's always been that. Pokemon's always been super competitive.
Sure.
But it's never been something that like people can go and look at the exact values of the player without using a calculator.
Sure.
There's always this super complicated.
There's a barrier. They've gotten rid of that barrier of entry, and that's what I hear about a lot of the reviews actually of the game. There's like a lot of those barriers to entry that like really hindered a lot of people from really getting into the game. And just to preface, I think you're like what 40 hours into the game that you've played, probably put 40, 50 hours into it.
Oh, more than that.
Probably more than that at this point. I know I put about 30, 35 hours into it. And it does feel like, for me, coming into it from somebody who just played Black and really enjoyed Black, it was I thought it was a lot of fun to play all the way through. I didn't really care for the story. I don't think anybody really cares for the story or for Pokemon games a whole lot. You're trying to hit these checkpoints, unless you're a kid, right? Kids love it. And that's what these games are aimed for, right, as kids. But obviously there's plenty in it for adults as well.
Yes.
But for me, it's easier to get into it like you're getting into it and try to do those things and try to breed Pokemon and go, if I put these things together, I can get this trait. I can make this Pokemon do this thing. Oh, I like this, right? And I'm just starting to get in. I'm tiptoeing into the water with that stuff, but I like it. I think it's really fun.
Well, there's not a punishment if you don't breed a perfect Pokemon either.
Which is nice.
Which is fine. Like,
what would the punishments be?
The punishments before were you could never increase its IV. You could never increase IVs before.
And now you can.
You can actually max them out completely.
That's really cool.
Which is it's amazing. Because I don't hate myself playing a game.
Right.
I'm not like crazy. Because imagine completing the game, you have a Gyarados at the end, and then you go to do its stats check and you find out its attack is like horrible.
Right, that'd be heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. It is, because you worked all this hard to have this perfect Gyarados, and it's not. You can't even raise it.
Sure.
Or you can't even check it. The game doesn't even let you check it without using an online calculator.
So you like the fact that they're getting rid of those barriers, those things that really stopped you from getting super involved in the game, super enjoying it. I'm
really glad that they made the legendaries overly powerful. In my opinion, they're too powerful. Almost. Yeah. But think about it.
Zamazentia and was it Zamazenta and
Zamazenta is
Zacian? Like that?
Zacian is the
sword Pokemon.
The sword Pokemon.
Now, like most Pokemon games, they came out with a sword and a shield version. Shield. I have shield, you have sword. Yes. That way we could have the different types for each other, what have you. Haley the same way.
Zacian is the most powerful Pokemon since Rayquaza. Rayquaza was the third Pokemon game.
Sure.
Rayquaza was so powerful that literally it was like... It broke the game.
Really?
It broke the
Rayquaza was it like a dragon game?
He was a dragon Pokemon. He was basically like. So the first time they made an overly powerful God Pokemon was Mewtwo. Mewtwo in the first gen, they were like, Mewtwo's just this. It's insane. He was just a god.
Right.
He was a god.
Sure.
Like, he was that powerful.
Sure.
And they went from that to Lugia and Celebi. Celebi wasn't that powerful, really. I mean, in my opinion, she wasn't powerful.
There would be people, I'm sure, that would argue.
I'm sure people say that it was a great Pokemon, but whatever. Rayquaza broke the game. I feel like they messed up on the second one. They're like, all right, we're not going to make that much powerful Pokemon. And then people got upset.
Sure.
And then the next time around, they're like, all right, we're making a god. We're going to go crazy again. They made Rayquaza. And then they took a break again. And now they're finally back to a place where
they're making these ultra crazy powerful Pokemon. And I think they're really cool. And the designs are really, really cool. The designs of this Pokemon are really, really cool. I know people have a lot of, they're really upset. How do you feel about the lack of like certain Pokemon? I know that there were a lot of
I'm sad about it.
Upset about it.
But the thing about it is like,
who do you miss the most?
I miss the starters. I want Bulbasaur. I want Squirtle.
Sure.
You know, and then I'm really sad that Gen 2 starters aren't in, like Typhlosion, Feraligatr. I don't
know anything about Gen 2 starters.
Gen 2 starters, it's Alligator, Feraligatr. He's super great. He's an attack base. He's an attack-based water Pokemon instead of a special attack-based water Pokemon.
Okay.
It's just like, I guess I understand it from this. I'm giving them a break because they're going so competitive in this one.
Sure.
And it's like, it's just different. It's different.
Who'd you pick as your starter for this game?
I picked the water type.
Sobble?
Sobble.
Which turns into Inteleon later on.
But if I could have gone back, I would have picked Scorbunny.
Scorbunny. I haven't seen much Scorbunny around anywhere.
Scorbunny, in my opinion, is the best competitive one.
You get 3 different types. So for anybody who knows, you get a fire, a water, and a grass type.
The Inteleon and the fire type are both
Scorbunny.
They're called they're fast-based stab Pokemon. So they're Pokemon that are going to be really, really quick. That your goal is to get a really, really high hit, and hopefully it's a one-hit kill kind of thing. That's the Scorbunny's like thing.
Oh, but talk about my Grookey.
Grookey is a attack-based one, which is just different. Sure. Special attack is I would say better in the game overall, but there's not a lot of great special attack Pokemon in this one.
It's good, man. Drumbeat is really good, man. That energy ball, I like that energy ball move. I'm really enjoying it.
Is it the grass energy ball?
It's a grass energy ball. It's just like
Kamehameha.
Oh my gosh, it basically is. It's really, really fun. But I guess it's more like a Frieza move.
The only thing I do wish that they brought more Pokemon in the game.
Yeah.
I do wish there wasn't paywalls. That's one thing that always makes me...
Well, paywalls exist.
It feels like there's a paywall, but there's not. So if you want a Mew in the game, you can buy it. It's $20.
What?
It's a Pokeball controller thing. It's called Poke Plus. If you buy a Poke Plus
you get Mewtwo.
You get Mewtwo. You get Mew, not Mewtwo. Which Mew's OP is all get out.
That's disappointing.
It is disappointing. It's very disappointing.
Yeah, but there's always a way. But the thing is, I mean, would you spend that $20 to have Mew?
I'm considering it.
Yeah, of course, right? That's the problem.
Which is the problem. That's the problem. And then it's like, you know, like
it's tempting, but also like
the other games.
Why are you doing this?
I wish Pokemon Bank was up immediately. It's kind of disappointing that it's not. So Pokemon Bank is what they're going to make so that you can translate your Pokemon from Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee into this Sword and Shield. So if you want those Pokemon that you've raised up, and Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu are from Pokemon Go.
Sure.
So those Pokemon translate over equally.
Oh, so your Pokemon Go Pokemon you can put in there eventually.
Yes.
That's interesting. When do you think they're going to have that implementation?
We don't know. We're waiting.
Oh, I think
it's like a month. I think it's like a month.
Because there will be people who have some really crazy level Pokemon that are really good that are going to put into this game.
Well, that's the question is can I bring my Dragonite over? Because that's what I want. I want my Dragonite. My Dragonite's OP. So,
but I think we should move on now because we've been talking about this for a little while. So we talked about what we've watched.
I just love Pokemon.
Dude, Pokemon Sword, it's a great game.
If you have any Pokemon that you want to trade me, I will put my trainer.
Yes.
My trader, my
Nintendo link code. Yes.
My Nintendo link code. Add me as a friend, and then hit me up on Twitter at Seeking Skeptic and say, hey, I had to use a friend for Pokemon.
For sure.
Because I want.
I'm going to put my stuff also on the YouTube video or what have you, or some sort of link if anybody wants to see mine as well, or to use mine to friend up.
I need more friends to play Pokemon.
Dude, absolutely, with. Right? I want to raid. It's kind of a ploy to be able to like play more Pokemon with more people, right?
I want to raid.
Same way with like a little bit honorable mention and the stuff that I'm playing. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is a game that I've been playing with some friends and some coworkers, and it has been Justin over here, man. We've been rocking some people's worlds. It's a lot of fun. I haven't played the story, but I've heard the story is actually pretty good this time around. They took some time to actually invest that time into it. Or invest more into it than what they have before. Really enjoy it. Really fun game. Really realistic looking game. Really crazy how real this game looks. But it's just a blast. I'm also terrible at it. But we talked about what we're watching. talk about what we're playing. Let's talk about what we're reading a little bit. We won't talk too long about it. And then let's do those. Let's do our the top five Christmas movies coming up. And what we recommend people to watch.
I'll talk mine right off the gate, just because mine's a quick one.
Sure.
So I'm reading a self-help book.
Hey, love it.
Because it's you're on that journey, man, and it's
dude.
It's actually has Redney recommended it for me. It's called The Obstacle Is the Way.
The Obstacle Is the Way.
Yes,
it's written by Ryan Holiday. Ryan Holiday, who also wrote the book that I showed you from a while ago. Love that. The Art of the Lie.
Art of the Lie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, The Art of the Lie for sure. I can speak to that one, but I want you to speak to this one now too, because Ryan Holiday, I love his perspective in that. I love how he talked about churning stuff in the media and how you can use technology now to
the book
perpetuate any sort of not myth, but could be any sort of thing. It's fascinating. The Art of Lying, or The Art of the Lie by Ryan Holiday. Very interesting. But you've been reading the self-help book by him. Tell me about that.
I've been getting on and off with it because life is complicated. I pick it up and then I put it down. Pick it up, put it down. But the concept is that, like, and the reason it was recommended to me is because of something I said. Basically, I've been on this whole journey where I've been reflecting upon the things that are in front of me as things that are ultimately there to make me learn.
Sure.
So, like, for instance,
things as a learning experience rather than just something in your way.
Yes.
Sure.
Something's in your path. Don't be upset that it's in your path. Take this as an opportunity to take your anxiety, put it away for a second, and take on the thing that's in front of you, because this is a skill you're going to learn. And also, it's important that you do it. So it's like, one of the examples is that I've been doing is, and this is, it sounds weird with the word this way to bridge to this, but cold showers.
Sure.
I started doing cold showers because, this task at first, one, it wakes me up and I feel amazing after a cold shower. Like, I feel so much mentally clear, but doing the cold shower is doing a task that you don't want to do. And ultimately from it, I will get a reward. So it's kind of like my way of starting my day with that is like, this task, if I do this task, I will feel better. I will start my day better. And it's something I don't want to do. And that's a good precedent to start the whole day. Because there are things that you don't want to do that are going to make your day better, that are going to make you more mentally clear, you don't want to do. And that's the whole concept of the book. It goes over, like, just things in our life that we need to tack on. And without getting too depth into it, but life is a learning journey, and you have to.
Sure.
I want to grow. I want to be that person, and I'm trying to listen to other people's methods and also get encouraged by people who are doing things that are hard.
And he uses examples, I'm sure, real life examples.
He uses real life examples.
A lot of those self-help books, some of them can be kind of hokey and cheesy, but I think that...
Embrace it. I embrace it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm sure his book is no different. But I do like his writing style. I do like the way he's very candid, and he's very kind of just like... He's very upfront with how things are. He's like, this is the way life works. This is the way it is. This is my perspective on it. Whether or not you agree is up to you, but there are certain truths. You know what I mean? He's backed by a lot of research. He seems like he knows his stuff, which is good to know, and not necessarily like those other self-help books where they're just like, well, I'm going to base things off. I'm going to take a bunch of anecdotal evidence that I have and tell you that this is going to help you in your life. Because I've seen so many books like just tell stories and then try to shoehorn in a lesson, and it just drives me nuts.
There's a YouTuber who also recommended another self-help book that I'm reading. Is called The Art of War.
The Art of War. Okay.
And it's
is this The Art of War?
This one's Art of War is like, it's like a taking on, again, attacking the obstacles that are in front of you kind of thing. I'm basically reading a lot of these books that are like defeating anxiety, defeating those things.
And that's really important. I mean, you're never gonna. I think anxiety is something that you have, and it's something that is not. It's like you're saying, it's an obstacle. It's an obstacle. It's not something that it's something that can cripple you, but it's also something that if you can find a way to figure out what triggers your anxiety, if you can find out what you can do to kind of help circumvent and go around those things and try to function in a way that it doesn't cripple you as much. And from what you're telling me is that you're trying to find ways to take those things that would once just stop you in your dead in your tracks and find a way to work around. That's really cool. That's a really good thing. I think that's a healthy thing to for anyone to try to do, is to not just say, well, I have XYZ problem. And that's just a problem. That's just going to be that problem forever, right? There's so many people that I know and love who have given up so quickly. Because they're just like, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is what I do. This has always been the way I've been. This has always been the way things have been. I'm just going to deal with it. And it's cool to see you reading that. And I definitely would like to take a look at that sometime if you don't mind. So do you have more to talk about with that book? Okay.
I know you're excited.
I'm very excited, and I'm always excited. Am I not just like always like
You're always
hyped
excited.
about whatever thing I'm talking about, whatever it
But
is?
this right here is
The
too
book,
close to home.
There are two things that I'm very excited about. First off, there's this book that I'm reading. It's a fictional book. It's a fiction book, so it's not a self-help book, but it's a book from the series The Arc of the Scythe.
Is this the one that I know you've been talking about?
I've talked about it. I've read it a lot. I've been reading it recently. The
Futuristic.
final book just came out. It's called The Toll. Very fascinating concept, the concept of the books, and I highly recommend this to anybody who is a book reader or knows a book reader around this time of year. You definitely want to look into getting this series for them. I think they would really enjoy it. It's set in the future.
And what are the 4 books?
There are 3 books.
The 3 books?
So it's the first book is Scythe, right? The second book is the Thundercloud,
Okay.
and the third book is called The Toll.
Okay.
And the second book's not called The Thundercloud, it's just called Thundercloud. But the idea, the premise of this is we've reached a point in our society where we have beaten death, right? We, through technology, through AI, have found a way to make it to where we cannot die. Whether it's from old age, we can now reverse the aging process. We can heal any sort of illness. If you went outside and got ran over by a bus tomorrow, they could take your body, reassemble you. Your brain is in this cloud. The cloud is called the Thunder Cloud. It's the evolution of the cloud. And it's this super intelligent AI that's basically running everything. Jobs aren't necessary. There's a universal basic income. So everybody.
Spoilers?
No. This is stuff that's basically told in like the first couple of chapters.
Okay,
I'll
cool.
make sure I'll avoid spoilers. But in order to address population rising too high, in order to help with population control, these people were given tasks with the job of killing people, and they are called scythes, right? And they are held with very high esteem in this community because their responsibility is to make sure that population doesn't get out of control. And so they're allowed
Because we're always living.
because everybody's always living, no one's dying,
Why don't they
generations
just
are
let the
going
people
on
get in
forever.
car accidents.
Because it's now the rule, basically, or the consensus that everyone deserves to continue to live.
Okay.
Like, you have every right to just continue. It's not a wealth thing. It's everybody has that right? No matter how wealthy you are, you can do this. Now, how many times you can turn back the clock, and not have an old, decrepit body, maybe could be dependent on wealth. I forget in detail, but I'm not going to go too far into it. But it's a fascinating series. The first book, it talks about two scythes that are being trained. And it follows them. The trilogy follows them throughout, and it's just where these characters go, the concepts, the ideas. It reminds me of a cooler Hunger Games in a sense, right? It gives them that same kind of vibe. You have some really cool heroes who are. Some of them a little bit morally questionable. Some of them have, are just, it definitely touches upon that rebellious revolutionary in me that's happening right now. Like, kind of feeds in that whole Bernie Sanders. I want to help change. I want to see the system change because it's not benefiting so many people, and it's definitely benefiting a little bit of people. It touches on that a little bit. Some ideologies that happen in the books are very interesting. Some people's approaches to being a scythe, very fascinating, very interesting. But I love that book very much. I'm reading the third one right now. And then the next thing that I'm reading, and I'm just as excited about, if not more excited, is I actually got a subscription to the Marvel Unlimited app. This is not an ad, but if Marvel wanted to advertise on this show, I'd be all about it. I'm telling you, your app is amazing. It's $10 a month, and I've only tried it this is my second month, so it's after the free trial. I actually paid the $10, but it's well worth it because it has literally just archived comics from years in the past. I mean, like, all kinds of them, right? I loved, after Into the Spider-Verse, I fell in love with Miles Morales. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite superhero movies of all time, and I fell in love with that character, and I wanted to read more about him, but he was really becoming prominent in college when I did not have time or money to read a lot of comic books. So I didn't get to. So with this app, I have now read through all of his Ultimate Comics run. Miles Morales has been around since, like, I want to say 2015. Okay. Maybe earlier than that. It's surprising how long he's been around. He's been in the comics for a while. But I read through his Ultimate series. I read through his introduction. I've seen his origin story now, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm reading into...
Is the origin story in the comics the same as the movie?
No, different. Similar in the sense that, like, his uncle's still the Prowler, his dad's still a cop, his mom is in it as well. She's the mom character I feel like is given the least amount to do in both the movie and the comics. She's a very interesting character. She's a very pivotal character in his story. Like what she means to Miles is very big and important, right? And has a lot of ramifications later on in his story. But anyway, I've read up until Secret Wars, and the cool thing now is that I can read these event comics that I used to want to read, like Secret Wars, and that I could never read before. $10, I'm reading it on my phone on my lunch breaks. I'm looking through and I'm reading these comic books at home in the bed. I'm reading through another comic. I can just read one more comic because comics are so short and they cost like $4 a comic, right? So it was like constantly a big cost for me to invest in these stories that I really want to see and read. Now I don't have to. Now I pay $10. I have all these stories that I can just breeze through. I can read.
Is it just comics for $10?
It's just comics from what I know right now, right? But it's really cool. I actually started reading a little bit of the Darth Vader comic series.
Is that
like
on Marvel?
2012, 2015? Yeah, Marvel owns. Well, Disney owns Marvel and Disney owns Lucasfilm and all this stuff. So there's all kinds of different comic books that they can touch on now. It's literally insane. The library that it has is amazing. But I really have been, it's distracted me from the toll. And I didn't think anything was going to distract me from the toll. I thought I was going to not stop reading that book until it was done. But I have been just using my time, Marvel Unlimited, just reading through these Miles Morales comics.
Do you have a favorite comic even?
Right now, I've been hyper-focused on Miles Morales.
All of it.
His whole story. I'm trying to learn as much as I can, read as much as I can about Miles Morales. I like this character. I love this Spider-Man. It's so crazy to me how much he feels immediately, just organically, he is Spider-Man. He is just
what is different about Miles than Peter? Because Peter's the person that's depressed, basically. It feels like
right. I mean, it seems like if you follow the Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland, there's not. I mean,
in general,
one of the things about Peter Parker they say is he has the old Peter luck, right? Peter Parker luck. He's got really bad luck. Miles Morales does not have good luck. It's not like it's the same kind of problems in the sense of it's a very real character dealing with like some real stuff in a sense, right? I mean, it's a superhero dealing with supervillains and all this kind of extravagant, super crazy stuff, but it's really good. They've really, the writers, I think it's Brian Michael Bendis who wrote it. I think he's a writer in there. I'd have to look and see who the writers are, but my gosh, I think they do a really good job. And I haven't even gotten to what they say is like the better things. I read there was a Spider-Man comic that I really loved where Peter Parker from the 616 universe, the main universe, met Miles Morales because Miles Morales is based in a different universe, like a different kind of dimension or whatever. Very good.
And then final thing, I've asked you this before, but I don't remember. In the end of the Spider-Verse, there was that Spider-Man who could translate through different dimensions.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2099.
Is that in the comic?
Yes, I could read the Spider-Man 2099 comics runs.
2099 means
2099. He was
year
set in the future.
2099.
The year 2099. Okay. His name is Miguel O'Hara. Is the name of that hero, and he's voiced in that movie by Oscar Isaacs. And I'm very excited to see him in that movie in the sequel because it's obviously
they're doing it into the Spider-Verse.
They're doing it into the Spider. They announced it on Twitter. They did a really cool graphic thing and they were like, number 2 comes out in like 2022 or 2021 or something.
Oh, Jesus, so far away.
Well, the animation is so unique. I think it takes a long time to create those movies, right? Very fun though, reading Marvel Unlimited. I picked it up, I put it down, I've done it 1,000 times, but Permanent Record by Edward Snowden. I'm really wanting to read through that book, like terribly ever since I listened to and watched the Joe Rogan podcast.
But I actually have this audiobook. I actually have the audiobook.
You definitely need to listen to it. I definitely want to talk about that, you and I, sometime about that book, because I really want to see what he touches on in the book that he doesn't touch upon in the Joe Rogan podcast. But so we talked about now what we've been watching, what we've been playing. We've now touched on what we've been reading a bit. Mm-hmm. So now let's go into talking about, I'm going to talk about 5 things on Disney Plus that I feel like anybody should watch Christmas related. Okay. Right? And you're going to talk to me about your 5 favorite Christmas movies, which is a little more general.
Yeah.
But very exciting nonetheless.
You took too many of my.
Disney Plus has so many good ones, man.
That's 2 of them, and I was like, all right, I have to go.
I'll do my own. You'll do your own thing, right?
You took Santa Claus. I was like, all right.
Santa Claus, dude. Okay, so let's do it. So here is our top 10 Christmas movies you need to watch this year. Now, I'm gonna say this. Had I not limited myself to just Disney Plus, I would put a great deal of time and investment into talking about Here Comes Santa Claus, A Year Without a Santa Claus, and all of those classic like stop motion animation looking Christmas movies. I would put
your list is
my list is Disney Plus only. Yes. I limited myself just to be like, what's on there, because everybody's getting Disney Plus right now. A lot of people have got it. 10 million subscribers, right?
Mickey Mouse.
I want to talk about those specific things. So my top 5 Disney Plus movies.
In order.
Okay. This is not in order. It's not any sort of order at all. It's just random top 5, right? First would be The Santa Claus. You have all three movies, and I'm gonna say this, and it might be a unpopular opinion. All three of those movies are really freaking good. People say that the third one's not great, that it's not so good. I enjoy the crap out of that.
Have you watched them recently?
All three of them. I watched. Me and my sisters last year watched 1, 2, and 3 together. Okay. This was on when we had it recorded on TV, but now got it at my fingertips, and I absolutely love the Santa Claus. Tim Allen is amazing in those movies. I mean, I think you would agree, right? Like they're just super fun, and it's just nothing feels more Christmassy than watching when he tries to cook that turkey and he burns it, and they go to the diner and they eat the Christmas dinner, and the kid's just clearly disappointed. I don't know why that feels so Christmassy to me, and that probably touches on a lot of things for me that I probably should work on with like a psychologist. But like that moment of that kid being like disappointed, but then being with his dad and being like feeling good, and their bond and that throughout the series is really good. Anyway, love the Santa Claus. So that'd be my number. That'd be one of the top 5 Christmas movies. Now, another Christmas movie that's on there that I really loved, that I love still, and I watch almost every year if I can, is Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, which is a series of like vignettes with Mickey Mouse and Goofy and Donald, and it does like classic Christmas stories. If I remember correctly, I know in Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, it's the story where the two people who are really poor buy presents for each other, and they buy presents for something that the other person sold in order to afford to give them presents.
Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas.
So like in one of them, Mickey has a harmonica, and Minnie buys him a box, like a thing to hold the harmonica in that's really fancy, but she sells, I forget what she has that she really cherishes, but she sells what she cherishes so he can have the harmonica box, and he sells his harmonica to get her something for the thing that she loves. And it's just a really sweet story. I think it really kind of captures that Christmas spirit of like, I want somebody else. Like for me, that's what Christmas is. Christmas is trying to find something for somebody and going, this is really important to you, and I know you're really going to like this thing. So here's this thing. I want you to be happy. That's Christmas to me.
Yeah.
So that's stories like that, and that movie in general is just, it captures that kind of vibe for me really, really well. Touches my heart, makes me feel really happy.
Of course,
I put in there Nightmare Before Christmas. Come on, how can you not put in Nightmare Before Christmas?
I've only seen it twice.
I love the movie. I hadn't seen it until like my senior year of high school.
I feel like I saw it when I was a kid, and I feel like I saw it when I was
probably high school age.
Yeah,
maybe.
Age.
Yeah, it's great. It's just a classic. I don't really feel like I need to go into much explaining why it's such a good movie. I feel like most people like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's Tim Burton. It's a very specific kind of style. It's weird. It's quirky, but it's really fun. I love the story. I love Jack Skellington as a character, and I love Nightmare Before Christmas. One of my low key underdogs, right? A movie that I think is really underrated that people will probably roll their eyes and groan at me for is the Disney Channel original movie known as The Ultimate Christmas Present. Great movie.
Can we Google that?
It stars a young Brenda Song. Brenda Song is I don't know what else she's in, really. She was in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. That's another Disney show.
Give me the trailer.
Oh my God.
I want to see if I've ever seen this.
The Ultimate Christmas Present is this just cheesy movie where these two girls find a weather machine. And they basically, and from what I remember, make it to where school is canceled, right? I haven't seen this movie in years. I haven't seen this movie in years, but I remember loving it so much whenever I was a kid. And so I can't wait. I actually have not watched it yet.
That's Santa's weather machine?
That's Santa's weather machine. And it changes the weather, and it does all this cool stuff, and it's just a blast. If you like that Disney Channel original movie vibe, if you like that kind of cheesiness, that kind of campiness, that is definitely what this movie is all about, and I love it. I think it also has the kid. It's got that kid that you'd recognize who was in the Santa Claus 2, who plays like the younger elf. I'm pretty sure he plays the little brother. The guy who plays Santa and the guy who plays Mrs. Claus, from what I remember, were really good. There are 2 elf like helpers that were really good in it too. Very fun, very just, oh my gosh. I love everything about this right now. Seeing it right now is just like bringing me back to like having a Kool-Aid jammer and like a cheese stick, and just like sitting on the couch watching this movie and just being like, this is the most amazing thing ever. Where are the gingerbread cookies? Or like, can I get that popcorn tin and we'll eat some caramel popcorn with some cheese popcorn? Like that's the vibe I'm going with. A lot of my stuff was food centric as a kid. For sure. That's another thing I'm learning about myself, but obviously.
Yeah. I think a lot of
for Christmas, I guess. Christmas is, of course, a holiday. It's for everybody, not just me, but very good movie. Highly recommend you watch it if you like that kind of vibe. And especially if you remember that kind of stuff. It's not going to be for everybody, right? But it's definitely, it strikes a note for me.
Mel's family's house. We have her nephews.
Sure.
And I'll probably definitely use your list for that.
Oh yeah, that's a great thing to do.
My list is to adults, I feel like. But
your list is very adult.
I
have one honorable mention, and that's Iron Man 3.
And I can't not throw Marvel in there. If I actually,
it's a Christmas movie.
If I thought about it, I would have probably put it on my list.
Sure.
It is a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie. I mean, at the very end, he's talking about that. It's Christmas, taking to church, and then he just gets all those. He gets his suits and stuff like that, and he does the explosions. Great movie, first of all. Very underrated Marvel movie, I think. One of my favorite Marvel movies of all time, because it took what we were all expecting from these movies to be super serious, and it circumvented it, and it made it goofy in a way that I super love, and I hated whenever I first saw it, and we all were really upset about it. I remember my friend group, all of us just like dissecting it and being like, this was terrible, I hated it. But I really enjoyed the Mandarin twist. I will always enjoy the Mandarin twist, and it's a Christmas movie, and I don't care what anybody says. That's my 5. So I'm going to repeat what I said. Santa Claus, Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, The Ultimate Christmas Present, Nightmare Before Christmas. Did I say that already? And then let me see that if you don't mind. And then obviously Iron Man 3 is in there as well. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
Do you have a favorite?
Out of those, if I were to say the number one that you
get to watch one movie.
I'm going to give you 2 things. Okay. One movie on Christmas Eve that I get to watch out of those 5. I would definitely say if I had to choose.
I'm asking a tough question for you.
That's tough.
Because you want to watch all 3. You want to do a marathon. I want to watch them all. You're a marathoner.
Oh God. I would say that I would probably choose right now at this time Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas.
Okay.
I like it. It's a go-to. It's a classic. I could watch the movie over and over and over again and be fine.
I actually remember Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas now that you talked about it.
Yeah.
In context.
It's very good.
So
very, very good.
Mine, dude, these movies.
So your top 5 are taking us out of Disney Plus. You're just going top 5 favorite Christmas movies.
I'm going nostalgia. I'm going my childhood.
Sure.
I'm sure a lot of 90s kids can feel this.
A lot of these. Sure.
Are any of these on your list?
Oh my gosh, your list is comprised. Most of this list I would have made if I had not limited myself to Disney Plus.
Here we go.
Right. So It's a Wonderful Life. You start with that. That's your favorite Christmas movie of all time. You say
it's so good.
It's a classic.
It's literally it's a heartwarming story, man. It's basically the story of this guy who is a banker.
Sure.
And he makes decisions. He makes all these decisions in his life. He does all these things, and essentially at one point he becomes suicidal, and he wishes he didn't live. And
which is pretty harsh for a movie, especially at that time.
That time period, they deal with some stuff in this, and it's good. It's basically. It's just so good of a story that makes you reflect upon the decisions you make, and it's just such a good Christmas movie. It's just so good, and it's
I feel like you don't really have to make a big case for It's a Wonderful Life because I feel like a lot of people already are like.
People don't watch it.
On their list.
I know so many people. Mel has never seen it.
So in your circle, it's a lot of people that haven't watched it.
It's because it's 1946. No one wants.
Nowadays, I'm sure people don't watch it a lot. Yeah, you have some new ones.
And I'll be real. The thing is, definitely.
Would you seriously put it above some of your other ones on this list?
It is one of those movies I will probably watch every Christmas.
Interesting.
I watch it every Christmas season. It's the only one, mainly because my mom probably made me watch it.
I feel like our moms and our parents and whoever was in charge of us or whoever was around us.
And then obviously I gotta go Home Alone.
Home Alone is a great Christmas.
My childhood, man.
Again, I would put this on my list 100% of the time. Like 10 out of 10 times you put Home Alone on a favorite Christmas movie list, right?
Literally.
So good, such a classic. That's again one of those movies where I feel like you don't have to sit there and try to explain to people why they should watch Home Alone. It's obvious, right? It's a fun movie. It is goofy. It's festive. You know what I mean? It's a blast.
It's definitely a weirder Christmas movie. I would say it's like an Iron Man Christmas movie thing.
It's a weird Christmas movie. I mean, it's definitely Christmas centric. I mean, you can't deny it. Like Iron Man, you can kind of be like, oh, he's in Miami. Is it really Christmas? Like you really see a lot of Christmas stuff. But he makes an ornament blow up, so I argue for it still. But yes, I definitely. Favorite Christmas movie is the Polar Express. The Polar Express, is a classic Christmas movie.
Dude, we didn't put it on our list.
I know it more as the book than I do the movie because those dead eyes. I'm sorry, I can't. Polar Express. The dead eyes. Can you pull up a picture of like Tom Hanks or somebody in Polar Express? I can't do it.
Dude, it was
There's no life. They're literally like this.
It was so good for its time, though.
For its time, sure.
Dude.
But have you seen it recently? Like okay, I don't know if it's really boring. I don't know about that, Mr. Man or
Polar
woman,
Express,
whoever you are.
Give me a trailer or something.
Just give me dead eyes. Just Google dead eyes.
He did, and he found nothing.
God, just stare into my soul.
This is 2004.
I know, which is impressive. It's really impressive. The animation style, very cool. I did not know this is a Robert Zemeckis movie. What? I did not know that.
Click right there. Click right there.
Look at these dead eyes of this kid. Watch him. He's going to open his eyes and then you're not going to see a soul in it. Watch. Ready? Ready? Oh my God.
So good.
It's very beautiful. It's very well
That is
animated.
not dead eyes.
I don't know, man. I don't know. There are certain times
for
in this.
2004, this is insane.
Miracle on 34th Street from 1947. That's also, I mean,
Yes.
a go-to for most people. I definitely, I think I've seen it one time, Miracle on 34th Street. I never really watched it. It wasn't really a big thing in our household for me. But I know that it's very good. I know people sing its praises for sure. What are the ones you got on that list, bro? Oh, let's talk about Elf.
Elf.
Come on. How is that not the number one for everyone? That is such a good,
My favorite scene. I haven't seen
Christmas
actually.
movie.
I want to see Elf, the soda scene.
Oh yeah,
That's the greatest scene.
Or
The spaghetti scene.
The spaghetti scene's great too. His fascinating the way he eats is always.
This is Will Ferrell like proving
peak Will Ferrell. I think here
he's literally cemented him. This is his moment that he will be alive forever.
What kid didn't want to do this?
Yes.
You know what I mean? What kid didn't want to just mix all these things together and just eat it and just be?
So
it was always a terrible idea, and you knew it was, but you always were like,
good.
"Oh man, let's just see what happens."
I would try it.
Right, one time I would put Pop-Tarts and spaghetti, maybe even some syrup. Very good movie. Very good movie.
Dude, so
oh
good.
my gosh, such a good movie, and it's got really good heart too. It really genuinely does. It is heartwarming.
And then for A Christmas Story, obviously, you gotta shoot.
You know, with a lot of these really straight up classic movies.
I love them.
This thing plays. This plays so much on TNT, man.
Sad part is this.
TBS.
This is really silly. As a kid, I didn't watch the Disney movies you watch as a kid.
You didn't watch them.
I watched these.
Sure.
It was probably my parents' brainwashed. Sure. They were giving me stuff that they watch, trying to get me to like those
my
things.
dad loves this movie too, so like I can't really say. I mean, it was on every year on Christmas Day. But the thing is, here's the mistake that my parents made: was they would play this movie after we got our presents. I didn't give 3 rips about this movie. I had my gift. All I cared about was what the thing I had, the cool toy I had. I got to play with.
I get that. I get that 100%.
Yeah, right.
It would also play on that on
Christmas Day, right. And I think that's the biggest knock against it, right? But people still love it. And I know Haley; she's a huge fan of that movie. But I think I've only seen it the one time all the way through without like interruption.
I love that.
Oh, it's so good.
Santa's such an ass.
What else? What other movie was it? What's
the fifth one is
The Grinch, right?
It is Jim Carrey Grinch.
Jim Carrey.
Actually, Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Yes. That movie is so freaking good.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh, it's so good.
I don't think I've ever seen Jingle All the Way.
Good. Can we please put the audio on this one? Actually, this is so good.
Yes, I'm trying to find a Gentleman doll. Me too.
It's so cheesy. This is 96, so I remember this came out. Like I remember it being a newer movie.
A Gentleman doll, yes.
Oh yeah. And it's
the entire story.
It's basically making fun of the idea of getting those presents last minute.
The hottest selling Christmas toy ever. You know what? We got plenty of Turbo Man.
This will be on Christmas, by the way. It's on TV every year. Every year this is on TV.
Really?
Every year. And it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, by the way. How did that not make either of our lists? Well, that did not make mine.
Made your list, because I limited myself to Disney Plus.
I put the honorable mention. Is that what I did? That I put it as honorable mention. But I should have put as honorable mention the Yule log. It's the greatest. It's the greatest. No, I'm just joking.
You know what that?
You know what the Yule log is?
I know what a Yule. Do you talk about the Yule log channel that literally just
Yule log? Every year you have to open your presents with a nice Yule log.
Do you?
Yeah. This is how.
Great for just 10 hours.
Every year.
Crackling Oh, dude, it crackles really good.
Yeah,
too.
it crackles, and sometimes they do like Christmas songs with it and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, it's great. It just makes me feel Christmassy.
We can't skip over the Grinch like this. We need to talk about Jim Carrey's Grinch. Jim Carrey's Grinch is definitely in my top 3 Christmas movies of all time.
I would say Jim Carrey cemented himself in the same way that Will Ferrell cemented himself.
When it comes to that Christmas movie, I mean, I think the thing is, critics and people really pan that movie and say that it's bad. But it's not bad. It's so good. Oh, it's got like a 33% on like Rotten Tomatoes and all that. Like it's really not great, right? My gosh, is that not that's a movie that my family will all sit down every Christmas around that time. I'm going to visit my family this upcoming weekend, or not this weekend, but the next weekend after, and you best believe we're going to sit our happy butts down and watch Jim Carrey's The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Probably one of the first things that we watch is going to be this movie, because this movie, and oh my gosh, it's got the comedy you want. It's got the story of the Grinch is still the same classic story. They don't
still good too.
The animation is still good. They don't deviate too much from the book, so it still feels familiar in that way. But they do a lot of fun things to kind of fill out the people and the story.
What year was this made?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, it was definitely early 2000s. It wasn't. I don't think it was made in the 90s. 2003, 2004.
2003, 2004.
Something like that. I don't know. The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas.
Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas? Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas, the sequel to Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. Also very good.
Is it the same concept?
I don't remember as much. The second one I don't remember as much, but I remember the second one having a story with Max and Goofy that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's similar in the sense it's Disney characters playing on stories. It's so interesting with
Disney movies you watch as a kid versus me. I feel like
Disney all my life is not when I was a kid. That's why I wanted to do this Disney Plus holiday movie thing, because it's like I was born and raised a Disney kid, and I will never not be a Disney kid. My kid will be a Disney kid, and as much as scary as that is, and how much they dominate everything, 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way, and it came out in the year 2000. 2000 is good still. Oh yeah, still great for the animation that it has. But yeah, Disney will dominate me forever. Is there any are there newer Christmas movies that come out? Disney Plus has one, and I thought about putting on the list called Noel with Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader. I have not seen it. I know that the girl from Game of Thrones is in a movie called Last Christmas. I think it's something like that. I've heard that it's decent. I haven't watched any of those recently. Game of Thrones? The Queen, the Dragon Queen, Daenerys. I forget her name, the actress's name. Emilia Clarke. There you go. Emilia Clarke is in that movie. But I don't really know if they're any good. I haven't really watched any of them yet. Beauty and the Beast, Enchanted Christmas. Enchanted Christmas. Interesting. Never watched it. I haven't seen it. Couldn't speak on it. Like Beauty and the Beast, though. I like the scene where the something there that wasn't there before scene where they're in the snow. And they snowball, they play with the snowballs and stuff. Okay, cool. I think we talked about most everything that we came in to talk about, right? Does Bulldog want to finish with anything? Yeah, does Bulldog have any sort of questions for us? Anything they want to talk about? What's like? So, giving us a couple of lists, Bulldog's 1992. What's the Christmas movie? Like the best Christmas movie, the first one that you're going to watch this Christmas? Definitely would like to know. Oh, you said my favorite is the Polar Express. Actually, so we have our answer. Cool. Dude. You have anything more to add? No. All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. I've really enjoyed talking about what we've been watching, what we've been playing, what we've been reading, talking about Christmas movies. I'm really excited. I want to go home and watch one on Disney Plus right now, or on whatever streaming service has Elf. I'd really like to watch it right now. I think I'm gonna watch It's a Wonderful Life. If you want to come over and watch It's a Wonderful Life, I'd be down. Pull the Yule log up on the old computer. Just have that going while we're watching it. We have to, absolutely gotta have the Yule log. I have to have a Yule. Right. No fireplace. Gotta have the recreation. So for sure. It's been fun, guys. A Christmas Story. Okay, cool. There we go. Very good movie. A W right there. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, it's been fun talking with you guys. We will see you next time whenever we go back into, I think we're going to be talking about something political again, just because we like to talk about those things. We definitely want to keep ourselves informed and talk to you guys as well. Make sure to talk in the comments about what your favorite Christmas movies were, what you're watching, what you're playing, what you'd recommend to us based off of the things that we've been talking about. We enjoy talking with you guys, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, whatever you're doing. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, follow either of us on Twitter. I'm Search for Common Ground on Twitter. He is Seeking Skeptic on Twitter. Instagram, I'm the same way. For you, I don't know what you are on Instagram.
Kyle Hill.
The Real Kyle Hill on Instagram. Thank you guys very much for coming, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.